Turnpike Sports is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, is that 6 no-hitters for the season so far?
I thought it was 7.
No, 7 is the record.
7 is the record?
And I would assume they're going to be beating that record sometime soon.
Well, I was counting the 7-inning one.
Oh, okay. No, apparently no one's counting that one.
No,
it's wrong, and it's bad, and it sucks for the pitcher, but no, the Yankees threw the 6th no-hitter of the season. Absolutely amazing.
We're seeing all these no-hitters. We got Tim Tebow back in the NFL. Crazy stuff is happening.
It's getting weird. So another week is upon us. How was your betting week, Doug? I never asked that. How you doing in betting?
I am doing. I wish you hadn't asked it because
Not good, huh?
I've won 1 or 2 out of about maybe 6 or 7 bets that I have placed. I don't bet too much. I pick and choose where I'm betting, and also I actually used a couple different sports books too.
Yeah, that's the best way to be. I imparted to you my theory on betting NHL playoffs. I always go with the underdog plus 1.5. The puck line, because I figured these two teams, every team is kind of evenly matched, and 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. And considering all the overtimes I'm seeing, it's been working out for me quite well.
Well, I have to admit, I'm not a big hockey fan, so hockey betting is something I have to learn. But NBA is where I spend most of my time. NBA, football, when football season's on there. And sometimes I hit baseball, but mostly NBA betting is what I do. And I'm actually really looking forward to these playoffs because the play-in tournaments have been really good. They're great games. There was a couple blowouts there.
Yeah.
But overall, they've been actually good games to watch.
And we got a great show coming up for you. We have a By the Numbers segment. We also have a Turnpike Sports book report. And for the interview, I'm interviewing the chairman of the New Jersey Casino Control Commission's, James Plousis. He's going to tell us what we can expect from Atlantic City and the New Jersey gaming industry in the coming months. A very interesting interview, so stick around for that.
Well, everything's starting to reopen.
Yeah.
Everywhere is starting to reopen, and it's nice to see the Atlantic City casinos getting a chance to enjoy the summer. They're opening before Memorial Day, which is a huge time for the casinos. And Chairman Plousis has some really great information for everybody listening. And, get down to Atlantic City when you can.
It's been a busy week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Okay, for our sports betting exit, a funny thing happened on the earnings call for the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. Now, for those of our listeners who are not familiar with what the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company is, they run the NFL Hall of Fame and the surrounding campus in Canton, Ohio.
I heard this story. I was very surprised to hear this story, but go ahead. I'll let you. I'm not going to step all over it.
Well, no, it seems that the president and chief executive officer, Michael Crawford, during the earnings call, announced that they are going to have a construction loan and an agreement with a sports betting partner finalized by the end of June.
So, very interesting. You know, a couple years ago,
more the sports betting partner than the construction.
Yeah, the sports betting thing I was very interested in. You know, keep in mind, a couple of years ago, the professional teams and especially the NFL were all saying the worst thing you could possibly do is bet on sports, and now I guess I'm not going to say they fully embraced it, but they're really accepting of it.
Well, now that they're getting a chunk of the revenue,
of course,
that's where the key comes in.
Helps.
They weren't going to be getting a lot of the money beforehand. Now they're part of it. They want it. But Mr. Crawford, during the earnings call, announced that they're anticipating a good summer season for the Hall of Fame, not just for visitors to the Hall of Fame, but they also have, and if whoever hasn't been to the Hall of Fame in Canton, they have a huge campus around the actual hall. They have a football field there. They have they're
where the
building
Hall
it
of
up.
Fame game is being played.
They're building it up, and what they're developing is the Hall of Fame Village.
Okay,
like the Olympic Village.
Yeah,
they're doing the Hall of Fame Village. They've got concerts planned. They've got football games. They've got other events. They even announced they're having the World Chase Tag Championships held at the Hall of Fame campus.
Okay, I don't know what that is,
but
on
ESPN.
I'm not sure what that is, but is that when you say tag? Is that the thing we used to play in grammar school? The tag okay,
so
all right.
Everything is going to be happening at the Hall of Fame, and they were very happy that Ohio finally introduced their sports betting bill. And if people haven't been following Ohio threw out a sports betting bill that has the potential to give 40 licenses out, and 20 of those don't even have to be casinos, as long as they fit certain criteria, which the Hall of Fame does. And what they want to do is they want to have on-site betting on the campus.
Really? I didn't know that part.
Yes,
but,
they want on-site betting.
Okay, all right.
And they also are starting the Hall of Fantasy League, which is a fantasy football league run by the Hall of Fame. And they want to tie in daily fantasy and sports betting. And when you go to once the construction is done, when you go to the campus, there's going to be a resort there. There's going to be retail centers. There's going to be a water park.
Wow, okay.
At the Hall of Fame. So they want to take advantage of all this new revenue that's going to be coming in, not just from the campus, but also from the potential of sports betting. They said they're negotiating with a partner to get it finalized by June 30th. They're also going to be announcing other partners for sports betting as well.
When you said sports betting and then you threw in the fantasy league potential, can we assume that it's either DraftKings or FanDuel will be their partner, or is that just too big of a leap? I'm hearing sports betting, I'm hearing fantasy, and I'm thinking those two.
Well, the one everyone forgets about is draft or super draft or whatever that's called.
You obviously forgot.
Yeah, I forgot about it too, but it's they have a deal with Caesars.
Okay, all right. I didn't even think of that.
So Caesars has a vertical of the super draft, which is fantasy.
Okay.
Then they have the sports betting and the online gaming.
Okay, all right.
They have all one-stop shop. So don't forget about Caesars. Caesars has the ability to do everything as well.
Part of the fun about these deals is trying to figure out and match up the two different parties who will work well together. I automatically assumed when you said sports betting and fantasy, I thought of DraftKings and FanDuel, but obviously there are others out there.
There's the big three, really, if you think about it. You got the BetMGMs, you got DraftKings, and you got FanDuel, but you also now have Caesars, who has an incredible vertical integration in terms of what they can offer partners as well. And the last statement that the Hall of Fame Resort made was that establishing sports betting is a priority for them.
Good. Should be interesting.
Exit 2.
Moving over to eSports. Esports betting is becoming so popular now. And
I have yet to try it, though.
Well, you try it on Monkey Knife Fight. They have an eSports division there.
Okay.
So you can try that. But in terms of general betting parameters, there's still a lot of growth in the industry for eSports betting itself. I know EEG, Esports Entertainment Group, has its own eSports betting platform.
Yep.
There's a whole bunch of different companies out there. And now we have Sony filing a patent on an eSports betting system.
Interesting. Wow, Sony's getting involved, huh?
Well, this is just an idea. There's nothing concrete in the works. They just wanted to file this patent on this process. It's a business method patent, and also a patent process.
Okay.
Two different types. And what they have is a 2-step process for esports betting. And they want to incorporate this in some of their PlayStations. That's where this would go. It would integrate smoothly into their gaming stations, what they are doing. 2-step process, or 2 phases, is how they phrased it. The first one is the first step would be providing the public with the odds of winning or losing based on gameplay and other released data collected from the participating esports players in the past. Now that's a long way of saying they take the game that's being played, they take the players that are playing the game, and they look at the statistics based upon their gameplay and also the game itself for these competitions.
Okay. Seems logical.
Yep. And they can ask the players to bet before the game, during the game, and they can cash out at any time as well. That's part of the overall first phase of everything. The second phase happens when the game starts. They will dynamically, under this patent, they will dynamically alter the odds, play by play, step by step, of the gameplay that's happening on the PlayStation or whatever gaming console that Sony is using this with.
See, that's great, especially in-play betting. You need something like that.
And again, cashing out is going to be part of all this. So people can make a bet, see what's happening. If they don't like what's happening, they can cash out part of their bet. It's partial cash outs here and there. But it's the very first patent that is for esports betting that I've read about.
That should be interesting. I think that should do well. I mean, I like the way they're setting it out, and I like it's seems logical, it seems reasonable, and it seems like it would be fun.
Well, I think the first step is to see exactly if this can get patented. They filed the patent. They filed it. It's going through the system right now. And again,
I'm curious to see if it's unique enough. Do you think it's unique enough than the other betting systems that are out there? I don't know. I haven't looked at the patent. I don't see what the files say, but I guess it has to be unique enough and separated from the other systems that are being used.
Well, what they have to do is when you draft a patent, there are certain paragraphs and parts of the application called claims, and a patent is based upon how distinct each individual claim of a patent is. I mean, some patents have like 400 claims to them. Mm-hmm. They break it down into that. And they can have some repetitive claims similar to other patents that are already filed, but it all depends upon where the meat of the process is. Those are the claims that have to be unique enough to stand apart from the rest of the filed patents. And we'll see where this goes. I would like to see something like this in action.
Sure.
Exit 3.
This story is going to show the strength of the sports fan.
Okay.
I had a little trouble phrasing that because I wanted to give the fans the credit they're due because of what we're going to be talking about here. And this has to do with Major League Soccer, one team in particular, the Columbus Crew.
The Columbus Crew.
One of the original
I was going to say
Major League Soccer teams.
I've heard their name a lot over the years.
They were actually the first team, supposedly, in the Major League Soccer League. Mm-hmm. 1996 is when they joined the league, or started the league. I don't know how you want to phrase that. They were the first team. What they had decided to do back in 2014, the ownership of the team, they felt it was time for a rebrand. So they took the name, they took the logo, they took the team colors, and they started changing things.
Wait. They started changing things in 2014.
They rebranded everything.
In 2014. Why is this a news story now?
Because what happened was they didn't consult the fans to start to do this rebrand. So they had one day the fans woke up, they had a new name, they had a new logo, new colors, and what happened was they had a little bit of a revolt going on over the last couple of years about this soccer team changing their name.
So it took them 7 years to get the message from the fans?
Well, rebranding does take time.
Okay.
So, you got to realize that when they announce a rebrand, it doesn't happen immediately.
So you tell me they changed the colors, they changed the logos, and did they change the name too? It's not the Columbus Crew
The
anymore?
beloved Columbus Crew became Columbus SC.
So they dropped the Crew.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, everybody in Columbus, Ohio was married to the name Columbus Crew. They had protests. They had
Wow, really?
They had threatened boycotts of future games. They had every kind of statement made by fans in the entire region about changing this name. They wanted the original name back. They wanted the logo sort of back to normal. Some of them liked it, the new logo. It was a shield with a C on it and different colors, all that stuff. But what they did was they actually sat down and met with the fans, especially this one group. And I'm going to, let's see, the Nordecke. That was the big fan support group for the team. And they were the ones arranging the boycotts. They were the ones doing the protests. And they were mad that they weren't consulted, first of all. And number two, they were mad that the name Crew was taken out and the logo was changed. That took the word Crew out, too.
Well, I got to tell you, that could be jarring. I mean, you're a big fan of a team and you support them through thick and thin, and all of a sudden their colors change and their name changes and their logos change. So, yeah, I guess it would be kind of jarring for the fan base.
And also, they're a good team.
I'll take your word for it.
They're one of the better teams in
right.
Major League Soccer. So it's just one of those things where, and they finished the story here. They sat down with the fans. They brought the word Crew back into the name. So now it's Columbus Crew SC again.
Now, did they go completely back, or did they keep the change in colors and change in logos?
They added the number 96 onto the new logo to represent the year the team started and became the first Major League Soccer team. They kept the C in the outline of the logo itself, which was represented Columbus. I'm sorry, Cleveland.
Nice going.
Yeah, there you go. Shows you how much I'm paying attention here. But they also have a yellow gold. They have a C inside a yellow gold outline of the Ohio flag with a black background now.
Okay.
So they were.
So you're saying the
fans had their say.
The fans' voices were heard.
And
Is
they
that
went
what
back
we're saying?
and
Okay.
they rebranded. They
Okay.
created a rebrand.
Well, there you go.
Exit 4.
Major League Baseball is going to have a fashion change update, whatever you want to call it.
A fashion? You mean their
Fashion
uniforms?
update. No, not their uniforms. Their
Is this
clothing collection, the apparel collection.
It's like the George Costanza thing that let's
go
have
to cotton.
all cotton uniforms. That kind of thing you're talking about?
Well, if Ralph Lauren makes cotton clothing, I would say okay, but he does not make cotton clothing too much.
So when you say a deal with Ralph Lauren, I mean he's
high end collections incorporating the teams.
Oh, okay. All right. These have nothing to do with uniforms. These are clothes for sale.
These are
that
clothing collections.
Incorporates the logos.
They are
certain
going.
teams.
Ralph
right?
Lauren back in 2018 had a deal with the Yankees. As a matter of fact, they threw a company representative threw out the first pitch to celebrate their partnership, and they launched a very high end fashion style clothing line featuring the Yankees and their brand, their logos, all that stuff.
Wow.
So just recently, at the beginning of this year, they expanded this deal not only to do the Yankees, but they're going to have the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals.
So this isn't. I mean, this is kind of high end kind of stuff.
This is all high-end stuff.
Is it sold at the stadiums kind of thing, or you have to buy it at certain stores, or how do you get this stuff?
Supposedly, what they are saying is you're going to be able to do it online only, but you may also be able to at some point get it in the retail shops at the stadiums. But they're going to be selling polo shirts, fleece sweatshirts, crew neck sweatshirts, satin jackets,
Okay.
and reinterpretations of the New Era produced hats.
I'm actually taking a look at it now. Looks pretty nice.
Oh no, they did a nice job. They did a nice job with those.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Yankee stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So you've got those with Major League Baseball, and they're going to have other teams joining them soon. I think the next one up is the Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be more and more teams added to it. At some point, they'll probably have the entire league.
Great.
The other fashion deal that happened was Erin Andrews' company, the ESPN sportscaster.
Yes.
She has a brand called Wear.
All right.
Which is sports-themed apparel for females, women. And she just entered into a multi-year agreement with the NHL to do versions of the apparel just for the female fans of the NHL, which make up 40% of their fans.
Great. Hey,
And as a matter of fact, I just saw one of the commercials for Fanatics, and they mentioned her brand in the commercial.
That's what, I was thinking. I was waiting to hear Fanatics when you started with Erin Andrews and her clothing line. So it's called Wear, but you can get it through the Fanatics
You can
website?
get it through wherever licensed apparel is sold.
Okay. All right.
So, but Fanatics is the big one for everybody.
But I did hear her name on the Fanatics commercial. And today's Strip Down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Stick around later on because we have a By the Numbers segment. Then we also have a Turnpike Sports book report. But coming up, I'm going to be talking with the chairman of the New Jersey Casino Control Commission, James Plousis. He's going to tell us what we can expect from Atlantic City and the New Jersey gaming industry in the coming months. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Tax Solutions Now is a complimentary referral service that connects callers to companies that provide tax services.
Money matters. If you owe thousands in back taxes to the IRS, how much can Tax Solutions Now save you?
I paid less than I owe.
That's right, money matters. So call Tax Solutions Now and get the IRS off your back. Since 2014, Tax Solutions Now has been a leader in the tax resolution industries. Remove wage garnishments, property liens, fines, and penalties. Qualify for the Fresh Start program or even uncollectible status. How much can Tax Solutions Now save you?
I owed the IRS over $10,000. I paid a fraction of what I owed.
Call now to reduce or even eliminate your back taxes.
I called Tax Solutions Now and got the IRS off my back. Thanks. You saved us a ton of money.
Money matters. How much can Tax Solutions Now save you? Call now and find out.
Call 800-683-7377. 800-683-7377. 800-683-7377.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus, free shipping. Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16 because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. This has been one of the most challenging times for the gambling industry around the country, and my home state of New Jersey is no exception. But we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, and with the casinos starting to return to normal. And to give us an update on what's going on in the Garden State, we have the chairman of the Casino Control Commission, James Plousis, joining us. Chairman Plousis, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You know, the gaming industry is so very important to New Jersey, and at the heart of the industry is the Casino Control Commission. For those listening who aren't familiar with the Casino Control Commission, what is its role for the state of New Jersey?
That's a great question, Dave. We're the regulatory body for the gaming industry in New Jersey. We've been in existence for 42 years. I'm proud to say, literally, we are the gold standard for regulatory agencies, not only in this country but around the world. We've assisted many states on setting up their regulatory system, as well as many foreign countries. Recently, we've had Japan in, we've had Aruba in the past. So I'm proud of the legacy that we've had. That we've guaranteed the integrity of gaming, not only for the patrons but also for the industry in general. You know, the employees, the vendors, as well as the owners of the casinos. So we have I'm the 8th chairman of the commission. We've had some real legends in the gaming industry. Steve Persky, who was a state senator who saw the legalization of gambling in New Jersey, and then went on to be the chairman here for 10 years and then ultimately be a Superior Court judge. But he's one of the trailblazers in the industry as well.
You know, as I said, we've been going through some tough times, and as a resident of New Jersey and a gaming attorney, I've been trying to put this pandemic into some kind of historical perspective. I know Atlantic City has had its ups and downs over the years, but has this pandemic been the most critical crisis the Atlantic City casinos and the gaming industry in general in New Jersey have ever faced?
No question about it. This last March, things were humming. I mean, 2 Marches ago, not this past one, the one before, things were really humming in Atlantic City. A lot of activity, we've had some new owners enter the marketplace, and it was getting very hard to hire people. We were hiring a lot of ex-offenders for some peripheral jobs in the industry, and things were just humming. And then, of course, when COVID-19 hit, it was like hitting a brick wall. We really, as you know, the casinos were closed as well as everything else in the city. And that, I think there's no doubt about it, was the most traumatic event that we've seen in the 42 years of gaming in New Jersey.
You know, we look at the terrible, cold, hard numbers and the effect of the pandemic, the revenue figures, the terrible loss of jobs. But do you think it's going to take a couple of years to really fully analyze what effect the pandemic has had on the gaming industry?
I think it will. We track, everything from hotel stays to, different trends, how many people are coming by bus, how many people are coming by car, by plane. So we track a variety of things. Of course, needless to say, all of them, dropped off, 60, 70, 80%, as well as revenue dropped off dramatically. So it's going to take us a little while to gather all that data and crunch it down to see the long-lasting impact of this pandemic.
How did the Casino Control Commission work with the casinos during this period? I mean, certainly safety was a priority for the casinos. There were mask mandates. There were social distancing guidelines. There was cleaning procedures you had to do. How did the Casino Control Commission work with the casinos with regard to these new protocols that they had to adhere to?
Well, we had weekly meetings, myself and Director Reebok from the Division of Gaming Enforcement, and we would speak with the head of the Casino Association, Mr. Steve Callender from Caesars Properties, as well as the local officials in the city, as well as the local health officials. The industry was very proactive. They hired Atlanticare, which is our regional hospital, that come in and collaborate with them on what were best practices. I would visit all the properties on a weekly basis. I've worked throughout this pandemic. So as soon as the properties were reopened at 25% capacity, I would visit them weekly. And I can attest to the cleanliness and the steps they've taken. I mean, they have plexiglass everywhere. Every third slot machine is open. The other two for social distancing are not. They have people cleaning constantly. When you leave the restroom, they have somebody cleaning the sink area. So I'm proud to say I think no industry responded as dramatically and as effectively as the gaming industry.
As I said earlier, New Jersey is starting to reopen. How do you see the reopening progressing? What can we expect to see from the Atlantic City casinos over the next couple of weeks and into the summer?
Well, the governor, we were at 25% capacity, and then in February we went up to 35% capacity. Now, the good news is, as you know, the properties in Atlantic City are all very large buildings.
Yeah.
So 35% of the capacity, in a very large building was not a challenge. The challenge was and still is, the bars and restaurants. There are some restrictions there. And, of course, that adds to the entertainment factor, that you can, enjoy some time in the bars. So the governor's been very cautious on his reopening. I think he's followed the science, and, he's informed the industry constantly on what was going, what steps he was taking. And, there's no question about it. We're heading in the right direction on letting up on more of these restrictions as the science tells the governor as well as the commission. So I think people are ready to come back. I mean, we get calls constantly here at the commission saying, how are the casinos? And I would tell them, firsthand that, they're clean. Their air circulation systems are second to none. Because, as you know, we have smoking in the casinos in Atlantic City, so their air circulation systems are always top of the line, and they've taken them up a notch during this pandemic to make them even more, sanitizing and more filtering of the air. So I think it's going to be a banner summer. I think people really want to get back, and they want to enjoy the summer here in Atlantic City.
What have the revenue numbers for the casinos in the state been like over the past couple of months? Have they been progressing in the right direction to show that the industry is becoming healthier and trending back to pre-pandemic levels?
They are. Now, there's no question, when the casinos were closed for months, needless to say, the numbers tanked across the board. We saw, just to give you an idea, in total gaming revenue, we saw a decrease of almost 20%. What helped us was our internet gaming and sportsbook have both been a real, effective way to help us hold off some of the bigger losses on the revenue side. But like the casino parking fee was down almost 50%. The luxury tax was down 55%. The sales tax overall in Atlantic City was down 42.4%. So the numbers, are coming back as we speak, but during the months we were closed, it really was a large impact. And as I say, if it wasn't for the internet gaming and the sports book, we would have seen even more dramatic decreases.
One of the things we're seeing right now with regard to the casinos in Atlantic City is a reinvestment into a lot of the properties. I know Caesar stated that they're going to put in $400 million to 3 of their properties, and Hard Rock said they're reinvesting into their property as well. As consumers, what should we take from that? Is there a presumption that Atlantic City is expecting a period of profitability, which I hope is the case?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, the investment we've seen, and as you know, Twin Rivers bought Bally's. They're investing, tens of millions in the Bally's property to bring it back to its, former grandeur. So people are betting on Atlantic City, with their money, these properties. So just as a footnote, we are unique. Our 9 properties, all of them are magnificent structures, very large buildings with a variety of of gaming opportunities as well as entertainment and dining that nobody really can replicate anywhere else on the East Coast.
You know, another great thing we're seeing in Atlantic City is that the casinos are hiring people at incredible numbers. And I know that the Casino Control Commission also sponsored a casino job fair for veterans, which was really great a couple of weeks ago. Tell us about this employment boom, and what do you think we'll see for the coming months? Do you think it'll last throughout the summer and into the fall?
I think there's no doubt in my mind the industry, we're in constant contact with them. You know, they give us their monthly numbers of employment, full-time, part-time, and seasonal employment. Everybody, as we speak, there's 1,800 jobs available in the 9 properties. So I can see that. I see that continuing. The industry has been very great partners with us. You know, we've been pushing for them to make sure that they hire veterans. They've done that the last 3+ years that I've been the chairman. We've also asked them to make sure that they look at people that were former offenders, that they need a second chance, and they've stepped up in that area as well. So, I mean, they've been good corporate citizens, the industry, trying to rebuild Atlantic City as well as the region, and I see that continuing.
As of right now, for people visiting Atlantic City, what can they expect? What are the capacity requirements for the casino, and when do you expect them to increase?
Well, right now the capacity is 35%. As I said earlier, the buildings are so large, it's never been an issue. I mean, when, like Ocean Resort, that building is a huge, I should know, I do know it, but I can't remember the square footage, but they're monstrous buildings, all the properties, Borgata, Caesars, I can go down the list, Hard Rock is a very large building, so the capacity has not been an issue. I foresee in the probably by next month, the governor will increase the capacity even further. As I say, not that has a lot of bearing. I think once we start getting back big entertainment, I think that'll really be a spark to get Atlantic City, fully back to where we were pre-pandemic.
As you mentioned, over the last year, one of the things that helped New Jersey's gambling industry is online gambling. I mean, during the pandemic, it really seemed to explode. What did it mean for New Jersey to have that gaming revenue from online gaming for the New Jersey gambling industry?
Well, there's no question. It helped the industry, and it also helped. Of course, it helped our tax rate here because internet gambling, we tax it higher than we do brick and mortar. So it's kept the casino revenue fund solvent. That's a fund that pays for senior citizen prescription and senior citizen transportation and some educational programs. So that fund, has still been very healthy due to the sports book as well as the internet gaming.
One of the great things about this job is I get to speak with gambling officials around the country, and one knew I was from New Jersey and said, it's great that New Jersey had that safety net of online gambling. I mean, do you agree with that notion that online gambling is a safety net for the gambling industry of a state, and do you think that'll cause other states to legalize online gambling? I
think as we saw with brick and mortar, the success of Atlantic City, from the regulatory standpoint that we could keep, the criminal element out of the gaming industry. So we saw neighboring states literally across the country go into gaming. I think brick and mortar, I think we'll see it as well with the internet. But the good part is that New Jersey, I think, we have fine-tuned the internet experience, and I think people will stick with us. And also with the sports book, I think we've shown that the sports book is a first-class operation as it is done out of New Jersey. So I think we'll have some loyal people there as well.
You predicted my next question, and one of the things that's hitting the news nationwide is sports betting. What has sports betting meant to the casinos in Atlantic City and the gambling industry in New Jersey?
Well, as you know, the sports book, the handle is deceiving because there's a lot of money that's transacted, but the casinos aren't winning as much as people would think out of that. I think the positive of sportsbook is that people want to come to Atlantic City, bet on the sportsbook, and then they hang around the establishment, watch the games. So they're eating and they're drinking and they're doing other activities as well. So I think it's a nice added attraction on all the way around. And I think, again, it enhances the Atlantic City experience. There's a lot to do in town, and I think that's just another component.
I talked to a lot of lawyers and politicians who were involved in the fight to get sports betting legal in the state, and they all wanted the state of New Jersey to benefit financially, of course, from sports betting. But they all said something very interesting. They wanted to stop losing money to places like Vegas. In looking at the revenue figures and the popularity of sports betting in New Jersey, do you think they've accomplished their goal?
I think they've delivered. There's no question. The numbers speak for themselves. Yeah. Our handle's bigger than Vegas. And I just see it continuing to grow. The Meadowlands has been very successful. As you know, they do more of a handle than the 9 casinos here in Atlantic City. We do have some we do approve their key licenses up there as well. So the regulatory and the standards are the same for the racetracks as it is for the brick and mortar.
Before the pandemic, I was in Atlantic City for every major sporting event, and the crowds did seem larger. And now every Atlantic City casino has a sports book. Has sports betting become crucial for the success of a casino from here on in?
I think it's important, but I don't think as you said, all 9 have sports book. But I think you could survive without a sports book, but. As I say, I think it's a nice added attraction. It brings in the sports enthusiast, and as I say, it spills over. They're in the bars, they're in the restaurants, and then they end up, a lot of them on the gaming floor as well.
When I was growing up in the 70s and 80s in New Jersey, Atlantic City was literally the only game in town, but times changed. Pennsylvania has casinos, Maryland, Delaware, New York all have casinos, and New York is very close to having mobile sports betting. I spoke with Senator Joseph Adabo a couple of months ago, and he said they were tired of losing money to New Jersey, so we're going full bore with mobile sports betting in New York. With all our bordering states having casinos and sports betting, what are the challenges that New Jersey casinos and the gambling industry face in the coming months and year? How will the gambling industry adapt to all this competition?
Yeah, that's a great question, and you got to add Virginia. The authorities in Virginia have been in contact with us for the last 2 years, again, trying to get best practices, and we've been cooperating with Virginia. So you're absolutely correct. Gaming is just, literally everywhere in the United States, and also it's popping up everywhere around the world. As I said earlier, Japan has been in on 2 different occasions, officials from Japan to get best practice as well. I think the uniqueness of Atlantic City is, of course, the boardwalk and the beach. I mean, second to none, the boardwalk is a worldwide attraction, and also the 9 properties. If you go to other casinos in Pennsylvania, even Delaware or Maryland, you don't have these 9 magnificent buildings all in very close proximity. So if you're losing at one and you want to change your the environment to see if you can win in another one, you can bounce around here. So I think that's the advantage we have, and we're well aware we got to make sure that when people come here, they enjoy the experience and they come back and tell their friends.
As we sit here in May, what can we expect in Atlantic City as the summer progresses and more crowds go to the Jersey Shore?
Well, I can guarantee them that all the safety precautions that are out there were instituted here. There's plexiglass everywhere in the facilities. They're cleaning the facility constantly. As I said earlier, the air circulation system have been upgraded. As I say, Governor Murphy has done a great job on the due diligence of making sure that everything that we could put in place is in place, and it is. So when people come here, one, they can feel safe and secure, and also we're open for business. My office is overlooking the boardwalk as we speak. There's literally hundreds of people on the boardwalk. So I think when they come back, they'll have a good experience all the way around, and that Atlantic City is open for business.
Chairman Plousis, we're running out of time, but does the Casino Control Commission have a website where people can go to and check out what's going on in New Jersey with regard to the casinos and the gambling industry?
Yes. If you go to ccc.state.nj.us, we have a variety of things on there telling you about what's going on in Atlantic City as well as the region. That's one thing. When I came in as chairman, I wanted to institute that we started marketing not only Atlantic City but the region, because there's some great things to do in Cape May County, and we want to get visitors to cross-pollinate, come to Cape May County, Ocean County, as well as Atlantic County. So If you go on our website, we have a variety of things there as well as our regulatory standards. If anybody has any questions or concerns about gaming, it's on there as well.
Chairman James Plousis from the New Jersey Casino Control Commission, thanks so much for giving us an update on Atlantic City and the gambling industry in New Jersey. Great things are happening in Atlantic City. I'm glad you came on to tell us all about it. Thanks a lot, Chairman.
Thank you. My pleasure, David. Thank you.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
No matter what kind of car you drive, we have an insurance policy that's right for you. Need to insure your family minivan? We've got you covered. Need insurance for that new sports car you finally got? We've got you covered. Have an old beater that just won't quit? We've got you covered. Or maybe you hit the lottery and want to insure all your new cars. We've got you covered. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save right now. All it takes is just one call. Answer a few questions, and before you know it, we've got you covered. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366. Auto Insurance. You want it, you need it, and we've got it. Call Auto Insurance for Less to find out how much you can save today. Better coverage at a better price is just a phone call away. Call 1-800-679-0366. That's 1-800-679-0366.
With some of the best promotions and offers in the sports betting market, PointsBet simply stands out. PointsBet is the only U.S. online bookmaker to offer points betting, where every yard, every point, every goal, even every play matters. Same-game parlays, good karma payouts, early payouts, and exclusive game day promotions and guarantees for all sports. PointsBet offers more bet types than any other bookmaker in the world, offering a unique set of markets that aren't available anywhere else. And now PointsBet is offering one of the best sign-up offers in the sports betting market today. New customers signing up with code BET21 receive 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Get up to $500 back if your first fixed odds bet loses, and up to $1,500 if your first points betting bet loses. That's code BET21 for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 at PointsBet. PointsBet, it pays to be fast. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We'll get right back to the show, but I want to take a minute to talk to you about Bean Genius. How would you like your coffee delivered right to your door every month, maybe 2 times a month? Well, now that can happen with Bean Genius. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country at beangenius.com. And Bean Genius actually learns their customers' individual taste preferences, then suggests future coffee blends for them. Well, how do they do that? Well, this is the cool thing about Bean Genius. Over at beangenius.com, they use an algorithm which learns the coffee flavors you like and then pairs up what you like with the coffee that they have in stock. And it's all based upon you. Every time you order, the system learns. The system learns your preferences as you go along and order more and more coffee. And now, all our listeners at Turnpike Sports can get a special offer. You head on over to beangenius.com/subscription, and you'll be able to get 10% off your purchase when you use our promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E, at checkout. That's 10% off at beangenius.com/subscription with promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E. beangenius.com, the smart specialty coffee subscription service.
And By the Numbers is sponsored by Play Sugar House Online Casino and Sportsbook in New Jersey. Sign up at playsugarhouse.com/pike and get a first deposit match of up to $250. Enjoy the casino experience online. Play Sugar House offers over 400 games online, slots, table games, hey, even bingo. It's like being in a casino without leaving your home. That's playsugarhouse.com/pike to get your first deposit match of up to $250 today. Must be 21 years or older and physically present in New Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit 800gambler.org.
All right, in this edition of the Turnpike Sports By the Numbers, I've got a bunch of numbers to throw out at Dave and let him guess what they're going to be representing, and then we let the numbers tell the story. So, without any further delay, we're going to hit the first number. 4.
I think I know what this is because I think we talked about it, not on the show, but outside of the show. But is it how long it took someone to get a jackpot? Is that what happened?
It was less than 4 minutes for an Idaho woman to hit a $1.25 million jackpot at the Westgate Casino.
Tell me how she did this. What game did she sit down with? That must have been immediately. I mean,
Wheel of Fortune.
Boy, that game, boy,
always pays out.
That creates so many jackpots. Wheel of Fortune.
IGT made a great game.
There's so many different versions of Wheel of Fortune. You know, when you look at it online, there's about 4 or 5 in some of the online casinos.
Well, this was the actual retail product in the Westgate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and she sat down, and it happened around 4:30 a.m.
Oh wow!
So I don't know if she was up all night or she just got up and felt like playing, you know. But 4:30 a.m. she sat down. Less than 4 minutes later, I haven't seen a report on what she bet, but it was a $1.25 million jackpot right off the bat, basically.
You know, you mentioned the time. I'm very curious. Is there like a golden hour for slot machines that most of the jackpots were hit? You know, I'm wondering when's the best time to play slot machines. I would never think of playing 4:30 in the morning, but maybe that's a good time to play.
Well, I'm sure there's a way you can research that.
Has someone done it? I haven't looked at it yet.
I wouldn't be surprised. There are a couple of sites out there like Wizard of Odds probably has something like that, or even Professor Slots.
Okay,
we had them both on House of Cards, our other show. And, they have sites that maintain statistics. They have research. Maybe they have something like that on their site somewhere. I don't know exactly the length or depth of the research that could be done on this. Maybe even the gaming commissions have it.
Okay. Let me take a look at this.
Well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to move to the next number.
Okay. I got myself curious now.
88.
88?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. You showed me a press release from a sports book that someone, I think someone, was that the amount someone bet and they won something?
The amount someone bet, $88 on a 12-leg parlay at William Hill.
12-leg parlay. Oh, my God.
Now, I'm not sure if it was done online or if
I didn't know it was a 12. I remember the 88 because it kind of stuck with me. But, you know, being on the radio and doing the podcast, you know, you get media things from the different sports books. And this was in one of them. I didn't know it was a 12-leg parlay. I always thought it was $88. That's a weird bet.
You know, I said I don't know if it was done retail or online. Okay. But again, you know, it's one of those things where it's from one of the news releases, so it would have to be an online William
I don't know.
Hill. It was a William Hill.
It was a William Hill press release. And it stuck with me because 88 seemed like such an arbitrary number to bet. You know, who bets $88?
Well, even the payout was kind of an odd number, too.
Well, I know a lot of people, you know, I want to win this much. You know, they have those betting calculators. You know, you put in how much you want to win, and it calculates how much you have to lay your bet down for. And I assumed that was like this, but the payout was weird.
Yeah,
you know,
the payout for an $88 bet on a 12-leg parlay came out to, or especially this parlay, $174,169.74. Now, I'm sure the 74 cents made it all worth it.
See, if you know, a lot of people put, you know, this is how much I want to win. No one's going to put, I want to win 174,169.74.
I just wonder if that's all he had in his account. He just took a shot.
I have no idea.
Because even 88, unless it stands for something.
But it's a weird number.
Could be graduation year.
That's true. Yeah. Maybe that's the bettor's lucky number. I want to get out of the habit of saying he because I know a lot of women bet. So whoever the bettor was, maybe 88 was their lucky number, and apparently it is, it is now.
This person bet on 2 hockey games and 10 baseball games.
See, baseball is tough because
all money lines.
Oh, wow.
It was all money lines.
Yeah, boy.
Hockey games. The person did money lines on the Golden Knights and the Penguins game. They did Golden Knights and Penguins money lines. And money lines on the Yankees, the Twins, the A's, the Giants, the Cubs, the Cardinals, Kansas City Royals, Cleveland Indians, San Diego Padres, and the Tampa Bay Rays. So that was a good spread of different games.
Especially the money line on the Kansas City Royals.
How about the Indians?
Boy, gee, boy, that's good for them.
I wonder how much of this was research or was it just a flyer?
Who knows?
Again, a lot of people take some time and research all these things. Other people are just happen to, maybe follow the team and know who they're playing against isn't very good for their matchups.
Yeah, sometimes, I do that sometimes, especially like in football. If, I'll bet $1 on all the games and do like a 10-game parlay with $1. But I never do anything crazy like $100 on 12 games. That's a little, I'm not that brave.
I use free bets for those.
That's pretty good. That's a good way to be.
Yeah, that way I don't hit my bankroll. We went from casino gaming to sports betting. We're going to stay in the gaming industry with this next number, so I'm just going to tell you that in advance. $10 million.
I do not know.
That's the amount of money raised by fantasy sports outfit Jock Market.
Jock Market.
Now, that's an app that combines fantasy sports with aspects of the stock market.
Interesting.
So, Jock Market's a play on words. Stock market. Jock market.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
All right.
The app itself is actually kind of interesting to hear the description of. You actually, before games start, they have an IPO process where you can buy a share of a player.
Interesting.
And then once the game starts, you can buy and sell with other players your shares of those players during the games.
Huh. Okay.
So, it's kind of interesting way of doing fantasy sports. Different.
Now, is this legal in all the states? Is it legal in some states?
Currently available in 35 states.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll check it out. It sounds interesting.
And even the way they do their fee structures, how they make money off the games, they take 2% off in-game trade values of every in-game trade. So if you sell a share of a player to another person, they take 2% of that trade price.
Okay.
And 1% of the value of any IPO purchase. So, when you buy a share of a player, they get 1% of that price, goes to the house. Same thing when you do an in-game trade, they get 2%, and it's all capped at $4.99.
It sounds like an interesting idea. Yeah, I'll check it out.
And they got $10 million in seed funding.
Good for them.
Second round funding, I should say.
Okay.
So they are on their way to actually doing some really good expansion work coming down the road.
Great.
And our last number, 1.
1.
And we went from casino gaming to sports betting to fantasy. This is another area we've talked about a lot recently, as a matter of fact, in the show.
I don't know.
NFTs.
Oh, I was about to say, does it involve the word fungible?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The
non-fungible token.
The
right?
Argentine Football Association, which is the national men's team for Argentina, are the first national soccer team to launch a fan token.
Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you can purchase a highlight clip kind of thing? Is that what we're talking about?
No, we're not talking about NBA Top Shot.
No. Okay, nothing like that. Okay, what is this?
Well, there are going to be digital assets to it,
okay.
in terms of trading cards, that sort of stuff.
So when you say fan token, what does that mean?
People can buy what they're calling the $ARG token. That's the symbol for it. When you go look it up,
all right,
$ARG, that's going to be their token. People can buy these tokens for collectible digital assets like a card or maybe even a highlight. They haven't really announced what they're going to be doing.
Okay.
You're going to have access to exclusive promotions and also chat forums, games, competitions on the mobile app Socios, which is going to be selling it. So basically, they're keys to the kingdom, is what they're saying. It's almost like a membership.
More non-fungible tokens. Huh?
Yeah.
All right.
So they are the first national soccer team to do this. Let's see. The Socios also has announced, and I figured, on the same day, this is a hat trick for Socios. They did a deal with 3 Indian Premier League cricket teams, as well as the NASCAR team Roush Fenway Racing.
That's a big one.
Yep, so they're all launching fan tokens. This was all announced at one time. They got a racing deal, Socios, a cricket deal, and a soccer deal all in one day. So we're going to see more and more of this type of fan token. I think we talked about even the NFL is talking about doing something like that as well. And you have the NBA with their Top Shot.
Okay.
So, non-fungible tokens are now becoming part of the everyday landscape. And that's this week's By the Numbers. And, we'll be back next week with a whole new slew of numbers and statistics to talk about.
Stick around, because coming up, we're going to have the Turnpike Sports Book Report. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-231-9279. That's 800-231-9279. 800-231-9279.
More bets, better odds at PlaySugarHouse.com. Sign up today at PlaySugarHouse.com, and don't forget to use our promo code PIKE to take advantage of their first deposit match up to $250. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more, and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, in this week's book report, we have our normal assortment of state and national reports on sports betting in terms of handle, hold, and revenue, as well as launches to talk about. We have, legislation. We've got a lot of legislation to talk about. We've got a lot of deals to talk about, too, this time around, with a whole bunch of different sports teams, and as well as some of the new responsible gaming platforms to talk about as well, too. Let's start with some of the numbers. And I'm going to hit the American Gaming Association State of the States report that just came out. Now, every year, the American Gaming Association compiles a report detailing not only the sports betting industry, but the casino industry as well in the United States.
And
detailing, how well they're doing.
Detailing is a very good word. It's a huge report.
143 pages.
Yep.
And not a wasted word in the entire report, to be honest with you. Some really interesting factoids out there, but I just want to hit a couple of them here. Americans now have legally wagered $21.5 billion on sports in this last fiscal year, compared to $13 billion in 2019.
Wow.
So that's a huge jump.
Well, there's so many more states that have sports betting than 2019.
Yeah, and it's actually a lot of them, as soon as mobile starts becoming more and more popular, too. I know there's a couple states out there that still do not do mobiles, Mississippi, one of them. But they're also one of the best markets out there, too, as a matter of fact. Revenue from legal sports betting options increased 69% to $1.5 billion. That's revenue. That's what the sportsbook operators have made off sports betting. The handle is, $21.5 billion, $1.5 billion. You can actually figure out the whole just by doing some math in your head with that one. This I found interesting. Baltimore, Washington, D.C. gaming market is now the third largest in our country.
Wow. Okay. So what is it? Nevada, New Jersey,
Yep.
and now Baltimore, Washington?
Yes.
All right.
And if you think about it, Washington, D.C., that market is a brand new market if you really sit and think about it, because it just launched sports betting.
Yeah. No, it's brand new.
So I guess if you consider Maryland's going to get even bigger too now with sports betting coming.
Well, look, it's population density.
Yeah.
New Jersey's up there because there's so many people living in New Jersey.
And also it's easy to get to from New York, which doesn't have anything.
Yet.
Yes.
So
It'll be fun to see exactly how these numbers and all these different rankings change. But I thought that was kind of interesting that Baltimore, Washington, D.C. right now is the third largest market. And again, once sports betting launches in Maryland, that's going to change dramatically. Once New York launches its mobile sports betting, whenever that's going to happen, you're going to see that change the rankings as well. And some of the other movers in their ranking systems to break into the top 20, the Gulf Coast, St. Louis also jumped into the top 20, and Shreveport, Balsier City markets all jumped into the top 20 of gaming markets.
interesting. Shreveport, huh?
I'm surprised at St. Louis.
Yeah, well, it's a sports town, man. That's,
I guess so.
They love their
guess
sports
so.
there. So,
well, those are some of the highlights from the State of the States report from the American Gaming Association. Actually, if you want to read the report, it's available for anyone to download at americangaming.org. That's the website for the AGA. And some of the best resources out there you can find at that website. Let's go to some of the other numbers from the individual states. We had Pennsylvania reporting their numbers. They had an April handle of $479 million, and 439 of it came from online wagering.
wow. Okay.
So that's a good chunk online. They have a great online market.
Well, look, it'd be curious to see as the summer moves on. A lot more things are opening up. A lot more people are going out and getting into more capacity regulations are loosening up, and it should be interesting to see online versus retail, how those numbers change throughout the summer.
Well, the way most of these states are shaking out, especially when you have the retail and the online together running at the same time, most of the time everyone just does online. It is a matter of convenience for people. If they don't want to go to the casino to
I
bet.
do online when I'm actually standing in the sports book.
There's a lot of that.
I don't have to go up and wait in line. I don't have to leave my chair.
Well, again, if you don't want to go to the casino, you have the options in a lot of states, and that it is a great option to have.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. And if you win, it automatically goes right into your account. You don't have to go up and get it.
Exactly. Also, revenue for April was just under $26.3 million, and $21.5 million of the total revenue was online wagering. They had about 82% online, so they had a good split between online and retail. Mm-hmm. Mostly, as I say, most of the states that have online, always the revenue and the handle reflect more online betting than they do retail, especially with the pandemic that's been going on. A lot of stuff's starting to reopen. Top spot went to Valley Forge.
Wow.
All casinos in handle.
Wow. Okay, good for Valley Forge.
$169.85 million in handle.
That's an interesting casino. That's the one where you I don't know if I'm explaining this right. It's a
day pass, basically.
It's a day pass kind of. I guess it's a C license. Is that what it's called? Or
yes. At some point they're going to probably change that. But
that's an interesting location. Growing up in New Jersey, you always went to Valley Forge on a class trip to see it. Now, like the Valley Forge Casino is about like a mile away from the Valley Forge where the soldiers stayed.
Hey, I went to Star Trek conventions at Valley Forge.
Oh, yeah, before it was a casino. What was it called?
It was Valley Forge Conference Center or Valley Forge Convention Center or something like that. So I went to a couple of Star Trek cons.
Couple of Star Trek?
Yes.
You went to a couple of Star Trek? No, I was never at the convention. I was at on class trips to the Valley Forge where, the actual campsite.
Well,
but no.
Going back to
Star Trek, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Valley Forge, like I said, led all casinos in handle. They also led all casinos in online revenue with about $11 million, and also in total revenue with about $11.4 million. So most of their revenue came from online sports betting. Meadows was second with $106 million in handle, $5.4 in online revenue, and $5.5 in total revenue. 4 Pennsylvania operators had negative online revenue. Wind Creek, Hollywood, Harris Philly, and Presque Isle Downs all reported negative online revenue. I usually don't see negative online revenue, but they did. It's after you take out all the promos and everything else. So that kind of affects it. And tax revenue in April was just a hair under $9.5 million for taxes. Michigan reported their online handle. Michigan's kind of odd because we talked about Michigan last week as well. We did the retail last week. They said they released these numbers separately. They don't
really? Okay, so you do retail and then they do online sports books?
Yeah, they do it that way. At some point, they're going to release them all at the same time. But right now, they do the retail. I guess it has to do with the casino industry. They release those gaming numbers, and the retail sports betting's included with those. But the online handle and revenue and hold numbers come out a week later, basically. Online sportsbook handle of $250 million in April. Not a bad amount of money came in, but still 30% less than March. That was March Madness.
March was a huge month for sports books because of March Madness. I mean, April is always going to be lower than March, usually. So that's expected.
Revenue was $20 million, and after you take out all the promotional play, the adjusted gross revenue was $10.9 million. They had a hold of 4.3% on the adjusted gross revenue. So not a bad hold. I mean, the players won more than the books wanted to give back, probably. FanDuel was first in handle, $72.4 million. DraftKings was second, $61.5 million, and BetMGM came in third, $54.9 million. Those are the top three. Now, everyone else was steps below. Barstool came in fourth, $24.8 million. PointsBet had an interesting number. They came in fifth place with $14 million. They were almost exactly even with what they did the month before.
Okay.
So their market share is kind of strong, if you think about it that way. They didn't have a lot of fluctuation in what number they brought in the last 2 months. That's a good, solid showing by PointsBet, if you think about it. Then you have the rest of them, William Hill, FoxBet, BetRivers, Twin Spires, all made under $10 million in revenue. Golden Nugget came in at around $874,000. 4 Wins, $345,000. In terms of adjusted gross receipts, FanDuel led again, $5.2 million. Then BetMGM was second with $3.8 million. Here's where Barstool jumped over DraftKings, $1.2 million in adjusted AGR, the adjusted gross revenue, and DraftKings came in under $1 million.
Oh, okay. Good for Barstool.
Yeah, so they made some moves in a couple different areas. Washington, D.C., very quickly, they reported a total handle of $10.7 million between William Hill and Gambit, which is the D.C. lottery app. So good April showing there. Let's see. They did drop down about $5 million from March, but again, that's the March Madness effect. Revenue was higher, $1.9 million versus $1.9 million in March, $2.1 in April. Again, William Hill had the more players. Players wagered $8 million on William Hill. Gambit took $2.7 million. So again, a lot more people are choosing the William Hill app and also the actual book and the venue itself versus the lottery app, which I always thought was kind of interesting. Preakness was just held.
Yep.
Set a record handle of $112 million on the 14 race card, and the previous record was $99 million in 2019. So they blew right by that by about $12-13 million. Moving over to some of the launches that we can talk about. The NBA launched their first live studio betting show.
I think I caught part of that.
It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
I mean, there's only so much you can do with some of these betting shows. But again, it's a matter of, how you present it to the audience.
Look, any information that helps you win money is okay by me. So,
Well, this is going to be running through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, the show.
Good.
It's a 30-minute program, and it's going to be part of a wider, I guess, sports betting net that they're throwing out there called NBA Bet. It's going to be a new site, new gambling section on the NBA's website. So if you go to NBA.com, you should see basically what it is. It's a bet center.
All right.
They're going to have a new social media channel dedicated to gambling storylines. It's all through NBA Digital, which is a partnership between the league and Turner Sports. And for those of you who are following along with some of this stuff, Turner Sports also has a Bleacher Report deal as well. So there's some connections with that stuff.
I'm looking for NBA Bet. So,
well, you should be able to find it somewhere along there. Also, the National Council on Problem Gambling has launched Operation Responsible Gaming. Sorry, I just said it wrong. Operation Responsible Gambling. I always want to say gaming, but gambling is the proper term anyway. That is for support and services for military personnel and their families, both active and veterans and retired, that have gambling addictions or have some issues with problem gambling. So we have a new problem gambling program out there, and it's also funded and helped supported by Entain, the Entain Foundation U.S.
Great.
Also, FanDuel. I thought this was kind of interesting. FanDuel announced that they're opening an office in Atlanta.
Really? Oh, okay.
A $15 million office in Atlanta, even though there's no fantasy sports and there's no sports betting in Georgia.
Well, maybe they see something coming.
Well, they
have some good information.
They're actually developing a center to help train people to work in the industry as well. So
that's great.
That's kind of an interesting little maneuver right there. I'm assuming with all the talk about Georgia and the sports betting, they've had bills in the legislative side of everything for years now, for the last couple of years here. So at some point they're going to be launching it, and they're going to have probably FanDuel ready to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I mean, Atlanta is such a great sports town, so it's a matter of time.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely a matter of time.
And speaking of a matter of time, we have Connecticut. Connecticut just passed sports betting.
Okay, so they're pretty close to sports betting.
It is now going to the governor's desk to sign.
And by the time we're on air here, I mean, he might have signed it already.
Again, you got to hold on, especially when you're dealing with the Native American tribes. These compacts, everything could be approved by the Senate, the House, signed by the governor. It's still got to be approved by the federal government.
Okay, all right.
But what they have in place is, let me see if I can get my numbers here together.
Now, is it just sports betting, or are they going to really increase their gambling? Are they going to do online casinos or online poker, or is it just really sports betting right now?
It is everything.
It's everything. Wow.
Here, I have my notes here, and as you can probably hear me shuffling pages on my microphone, which I should never do. It was a 122-21 vote. And what this will do, it's a 10-year agreement calling for an 18% tax for the first 5 years for online casino gambling, and then a 20% tax on gross gambling revenue. 13.75% tax rate on sports betting.
Okay.
Let's see. Age is 21 and older, not 18 like some states have. Mm-hmm. It's going to create 15 retail sports betting sites, including larger facilities in Hartford and Bridgeport. You can't bet on in-state college teams.
Okay, yeah.
New
Jersey has that rule, too. I think New Jersey is going to change that rule, but,
Well, again, a
lot of states have that.
I always felt the best compromise was bet on the colleges but not the players. No prop bets.
Yeah.
That always seems to be the best.
I forgot what states have that, but some states allow you to bet on the colleges in their state, but they don't allow you to do prop bets on the individual athletes.
Yeah, that's a great compromise, I always thought. But, again, you got to slowly get these gears moving. The two interesting points to this, the Connecticut Lottery can now operate online lottery draw games, online keno, and both retail and online sports betting. So you have the Connecticut Lottery being one of the participants and not the guys running it, like in some states.
Oh, okay.
And the losers in all of this are the people of East Windsor.
Okay.
East Windsor was going to have that combined casino by the two tribes.
Oh, and what happened? That got lost in the compromise?
No, it did not get lost. As a matter of fact, it was a sticking point in a lot of areas.
Okay.
Under the new compacts, the casino being built, that idea, that concept is now blocked for 10 years.
Okay.
So they have another 10 years to wait for their own casino. A couple of other news and notes in terms of deals. We have PointsBet making a deal with the WNBA, the first one for a women's professional sports league.
Great.
Typical deal. They're going to have the WNBA listed in the sports betting menus in exchange for some promotion and sponsorship activations on the WNBA side for PointsBet. BetMGM did a deal with the Baltimore Ravens. They are now a sponsored presence on Ravens digital and social platforms. You're going to see BetMGM signage everywhere at M&T Bank Stadium, which is where the Ravens play. They're going to have promotions targeted to the Ravens fans. And also they're going to have a private hospitality suite at the stadium.
Wow, I like that. That's a new thing now. I like these. I've never been in one yet. I know there's a bunch in New Jersey. That I think the Devils have one. I'm sure other teams have them, but I've never been in these. I get luxury boxes. I guess that's what they're called. They're glorified luxury boxes. Yes. Is that a
Basically,
good way to put it? Okay.
And also, you'll probably be allowed to bet in there too.
Well, you can bet anywhere with your phone. So.
Well, some stadiums may still not allow it. Oh. You got to think about where you're actually betting and everything else. Moving over to, let's stay with the Ravens for a little bit here. We have Sport Radar doing a deal with both the Ravens and the Jets. Sport Radar is going to be working with both teams to help maximize the revenue from the marketing initiatives involving sports betting.
I have no idea what that means. What do they do?
They have a division called Ads. Sport Radar has Ads.
Okay.
AD:S.
All right.
And it's a dynamic.
Sport Radar is going to help them advertise their product.
They're going to help them get the most money.
Okay.
From different avenues of revenue and that sort of setup there. Betway just became the official sports betting partner of the NHL.
That's where I first saw Betway. I was watching an Islanders game, and I would say a couple months ago, and I was like, "What the hell is Betway?" I don't even know what. I can't remember if it was on the ice or was on the ring around the ice. But no, I saw Betway, and I didn't know what it was.
Well,
so now I know what it is.
You're going to be seeing Betway everywhere for the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup final. They're also going to have visibility at the tentpole events like the NHL Winter Classic, the Stadium Series, All-Star Weekend. And it's kind of interesting because Betway, this is the first North American Sports League sponsorship they've entered into. So for those of you not familiar with Betway, you're going to be seeing a lot of it in the coming years with the NHL. They're making deals with a couple other places as well. Last but not least for this week, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, and it's kind of unusual to mention the Economic Development Authority in a book report here, but they just did a memorandum of understanding with New Jersey City University to develop and create the Sports Wagering and Financial Technology Workforce Development and Innovation Center.
Okay.
They're going to be the New Jersey EDA is going to provide $200,000 in funding and staff resources to help New Jersey City University, which is in Jersey City. They're going to help develop the workforce for sports wagering as well as financial tech. Both of those are incorporated together because a lot of the technology that is used for financial transactions is used by sports wagering operators.
Sure.
So they go hand in hand.
Look, sports betting is a huge industry now, and they need a workforce, and they need a competent workforce, and I'm glad they're doing something like this. It gets, qualified people doing great jobs in the sports betting industry.
And the goal of this is to actually also function as an incubator for new businesses down the road.
Great.
So congratulations to New Jersey City University for getting that partnership together. And, New Jersey is one of the leaders in sports betting, in the sports betting industry.
Absolutely.
And this is one way they can maintain it. So that's it for this week's book report. Whatever we didn't hit, and there was a lot we didn't hit again. I mean, another crazy week with some of this stuff.
I think everyone's trying to get all their business done before Memorial Day.
Well, it's been
just
like
seems
this.
like that. It feels like that.
I'll be honest with you. With all the states passing legislation, with all the different deals being done, I think somebody even referred to some of these deals as like the Wild West again. It's a land grab for trying to get positioning in the market, which is kind of we didn't even talk about the DraftKings racing deal with the Michael Jordan team.
Yeah.
So, but I guess I just did.
Yeah, there you go. You just
did. They just did a deal with the racing team for Bubba Wallace, run by Michael Jordan 23XI, I think it's called. And so, but whatever we didn't hit, there was a lot of other stuff we didn't hit, especially legislation-wise. Head on over to TurnpikeSportsRadio.com and click on the blog button. You'll see these stories we did talk about and some of the ones we did not talk about, or a lot of the ones we did not talk about, in print form on the blog.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.